We're here because you're selfish, ungrateful, and tearing this family apart. My mother said that into a microphone in my parents' living room. On my 30th birthday, 40 people sat in folding chairs staring at me. My father held a 3-page list of everything I'd done wrong since I was 8. My sister aimed her phone at my face. Live on TikTok. I didn't cry, I didn't leave. I sat there, waited for them to finish, and then I said 6 words that changed everything. Funny, I've been recording too. What happened in the next 11 minutes ended 6 relationships in that room, and my sister deleted her entire TikTok before she made it to the car. Before I go on, please take a moment to like and subscribe, but only if you genuinely connect with this story. Drop your location and local time in the comments. I'd love to know where you're watching from. My name is Faith. I'm 30. I'm an ER nurse in a small town outside Columbus, Ohio. And this is the story of how my family threw me a surprise intervention for my birthday, and how it became the worst night in Mercer family history. Now let me take you back 3 months before that night, to the phone call I was never supposed to hear. Let me set the scene so you understand what my life looked like before everything fell apart. It's a Friday night. I've just finished a 14-hour shift in the ER, 2 car accidents, a cardiac arrest, and a kid who swallowed a quarter. My scrubs smell like iodine and coffee. I'm sitting in my car in the hospital parking lot, engine off, eyes closed, just breathing. Then I check my phone. 3 messages. Mom. Faith, the insurance bill came. Can you handle it this month? Dad's hours got cut again. Kristen, my older sister. Hey, can I borrow $400? There's an online course I need for my brand. Dad. A photo of a roofing invoice. No words, just the photo. I pull up my banking app and do the math I do every month. Mortgage payment for my parents' house, $1,100. Mom's health insurance supplement, $340. Kristen's car payment, $280. Groceries I drop off on Sundays, around $150. That's roughly $2,100 a month, nearly half my take-home pay. My apartment has 1 bedroom, furniture from IKEA, and a refrigerator with 2 meal prep containers and a half-empty bottle of hot sauce. I drive a 2014 Civic with 130,000 miles. I haven't taken a vacation since I graduated nursing school. 8 years. Not one. And here's the thing. I never complained. Not once. I'd grown up watching my grandmother Ruth stretch every dollar. And she taught me that family takes care of family. So I took care of them. I just didn't realize the difference between taking care of someone and being taken from. But I was about to find out. Because the money I'd been sending? Not all of it was going where I thought. Sunday dinner at my parents' house. Every week, same routine. I show up at 4, help Mom prep, set the table, wash whatever's in the sink from the night before. By the time everyone sits down, I've already been working for an hour. This particular Sunday, Mom is glowing. She's telling Dad about Kristen's TikTok account. She's building a personal brand, Gary, life coaching. She already has almost 2,000 followers. Dad nods like Kristen just got into Harvard. I wait for a pause. I got promoted last week, I say. Charge nurse, it's a leadership position. Mom reaches for the bread basket. That's nice, honey. Can you grab the salad from the fridge? Kristen arrives 45 minutes late. She's carrying a bottle of wine. Not expensive, but the gesture earns her a hug from Mom at the door. I've been here since 4. Nobody hugged me. She sits down across from me, tossing her hair back, and I notice her earrings. Small pearls, vintage setting. I've seen that setting before. Those are pretty, I say. They look like Grandma Ruth's. Kristen shrugs. Aunt Jeanette gave them to me, said Grandma didn't want them anymore. I glance at Mom. She's suddenly very interested in her mashed potatoes. Grandma Ruth wears her pearls every time I visit. Every single time. She didn't give those away. But nobody at the table wants to talk about it, so I let it go. That's what I did. I let things go. I let the comments go, the favoritism go, the silence where gratitude should have been. I was good at letting things go. Until the night I couldn't. 3 months before my birthday. A Tuesday evening. I stop by my parents' house to pick up a jacket I'd left the Sunday before. The back door is unlocked. It always is. I step inside. The kitchen light is on. I hear voices. Mom and Kristen, around the corner. I almost call out. Almost. Then I hear my name. We do it on her birthday, Mom says. Everyone's already coming. We sit her down and we tell her the truth. She's selfish, she controls us with money, and we're done walking on eggshells around her. My hand freezes on the doorframe. Kristen laughs. I'll film the whole thing. This is exactly the kind of content my page needs. Raw, real family stuff. Kristen hesitates. What if she stops paying? Mom laughs. Short, confident, the way you laugh at a child who threatens to run away from home. She won't. She's been paying for 8 years. She didn't stop when I forgot her college graduation. She didn't stop when your father called her career just bedpans and paperwork. She's not going to stop because of one evening. But what if she does? Then 40 people just watched us beg her for help. She walks away after that. She proves everything we said. She's trapped either way. Good, Kristen says. And if she makes a scene, even better. Shows everyone she can't handle the truth. I stand there for maybe 10 seconds. It feels like 10 minutes. My pulse is in my ears. My legs feel hollow. I back out through the door without making a sound. Get in my car, sit in the driveway with my hands on the steering wheel, staring at the garage door. I stay there for 20 minutes. Then I call Naomi. She's been my best friend since college. She's also a civil rights attorney. I tell her everything, word for word. She listens, doesn't interrupt. When I'm done, she asks one question. Do you still have that voice recorder app from the malpractice scare last year? I do. I'd installed it when a patient's family threatened to sue the hospital. Naomi had recommended it. Keep it, she says, and start using it. I didn't plan revenge that night. I planned survival. I just didn't know yet how much I'd need it. Over the next few days, I do what I do best. I make a list, not of emotions, of consequences. If the intervention happens, and I just sit there and take it, 40 people walk out of that room believing I'm the selfish daughter who tears her family apart. 40 people in a town where everyone knows everyone. 3 of those people work at my hospital. Mom invited them. I find that out through Naomi, who screenshots a Facebook message from a mutual friend. Mom wrote to Marcus, my direct supervisor, Carla from the ER, and Dr. Pham. She told them it was a surprise birthday gathering and that she'd love for Faith's work friends to show support. Show support. That's what she called it. If Marcus watches my mother publicly dissect my character, every interaction I have with him after that is filtered through, her own family thinks she's a problem. In a small hospital, reputation is currency, and my mother is about to bankrupt mine. If I fight back at the intervention, if I argue, if I raise my voice, I become the proof. See, this is exactly what we're talking about. If I don't show up at all, Mom tells everyone, she didn't even come. That's how selfish she is. 3 doors, all of them traps. I explain this to Naomi over coffee, my hands wrapped around a mug I'm not drinking. She stirs her latte and says, they set the stage. You didn't choose the audience, but you can choose what gets performed. What does that mean? It means you need a 4th door. I stare at her. She stares back. And that's when the plan stopped being about survival and started being about truth. Here's something most people don't know about Ohio. It's a one-party consent state. That means if I'm part of a conversation, or even just present in the room, I can legally record it. Naomi confirmed it twice, so I start recording. Not with a hidden camera, not with anything dramatic, just an app on my phone. I open it before I walk through my parents' door every Sunday, and I close it when I leave. Simple as that. The first week, nothing. Mom talks about a church bake sale, Dad watches football, Kristen doesn't show up. The second week, I'm standing at the kitchen sink after dinner, rinsing plates, when I hear Dad's voice from the garage. The door is cracked. He's on the phone. His voice is different, softer, lighter, like a teenager talking to his first girlfriend. Yeah, Linda. Tuesday works. Diane's got Bible study. I'll tell her I'm picking up parts at the store. A woman's voice on the other end, a laugh, warm, familiar with him. She doesn't suspect anything, Dad says. 22 years and she still thinks I go bowling on Tuesdays. I grip the edge of the sink so hard my knuckles go white. A plate slips, Clinks against the basin. I catch it. Dad doesn't hear. He's still laughing. I finish the dishes. I dry my hands. I walk out to my car, sit down, and look at my phone. The app is running. The waveform is still moving. I wasn't looking for this. I was looking for protection. But a recorder doesn't filter. It catches everything. And apparently, everything in the Mercer house was worth catching. Week 4. I arrive early, 20 minutes before dinner. The front door is locked, so I go around back. Mom's bedroom window is open a crack. Her voice drifts out. She's on the phone, speaker on. I can hear both sides. Gary doesn't know about the $14,000, Mom says. I moved it to my personal account right after Mom's estate sale. He thinks the furniture sold for less than it did. And then Aunt Jeanette's voice, tinny through the speaker. Smart. And the pearls. I already sold the bracelet. Got $800 for it. If Ruth asks, we just say it's at the jeweler being cleaned. Fine, Mom says. Just don't let Faith find out. She's the only one who still visits Ruth every week. If Ruth mentions the bracelet, Faith will start asking questions. Faith won't find out. She's too busy paying your mortgage. They both laugh. I stand in the backyard, next to the recycling bin, listening to my mother and my aunt laugh about stealing from my 82-year-old grandmother. My phone is in my jacket pocket. The red bar on the screen pulses quietly. $14,000. That's 7 months of the mortgage I'd been paying. The mortgage I thought was keeping a roof over my parents' heads while they struggled. They weren't struggling. Mom had $14,000 tucked away in an account Dad didn't know about, funded by my grandmother's estate, while I ate meal prep out of plastic containers and drove a car with a cracked windshield. I had 2 secrets in my phone now. And there were still 6 weeks until my birthday. 6 weeks of Sunday dinners, 6 weeks of smiling through the door. I could do that. I'd been doing it for years. The next Sunday, Derek doesn't come to dinner. He's picking up an extra shift, electrical work at a new development on the edge of town. He works hard, always has. Kristen used to brag about that when they first got married. Tonight she's not bragging. 2 glasses of wine in, Kristen leans toward Mom across the table. I'm at the other end, cutting my chicken, invisible. Derek is useless, Kristen says. She keeps her voice low, but the dining room is small. Can't fix the sink, can't get a promotion. I married a man who peaks at 35. Mom doesn't flinch. You could have done better. I wish I never said yes at that altar. Kristen drains her glass. I keep thinking, if I hadn't gotten pregnant that first year, I would have walked. Mom pats her hand. You still have time. Dad's in the living room. Doesn't hear. Doesn't care. I say nothing. I eat my chicken. My phone sits in my lap, recording every word. 40 minutes later, we're clearing plates. Kristen steps into the hallway, phone to her ear. I hear her voice shift, honey sweet, warm. Miss you, babe. Save me some leftovers, okay? You're the best thing in my life. She hangs up, walks back to the kitchen, pours a third glass. I look at this woman, my sister, who just called her husband useless, who wished she'd never married him, who 10 minutes later told him he was the best thing in her life. And I think about Derek, at a job site right now, running wire through drywall because he wants to provide for the woman who despises him behind his back. Every person in this family wears a mask. I was the only one who didn't. Not anymore. 2 weeks before my birthday, Naomi sends me a screenshot. It's a Facebook message from my mother to a woman named Peggy. Peggy, who happens to be friends with Carla from my ER. Mom has asked Peggy to pass along the invite to my work friends. The message reads, We'd love for Faith's work friends to be there. It's a special evening. We want the people who matter most to her to show their support. I stare at that phrase, show their support. Then Naomi sends a second screenshot. Mom messaged Marcus directly. Marcus, my supervisor. The man who signs off on my schedule, my evaluations, my future at that hospital. Marcus, you've known Faith for years. I think it would mean the world to her if you came. My hands are shaking. This is the first time in this entire process my hands shake. I call Naomi. My voice cracks once, and then I steady it. She invited Marcus, and Carla, and Dr. Pham. Silence on the line. That changes things, Naomi says. That's my career, Naomi. If Marcus sits in that living room and watches my mother call me selfish and ungrateful, if he sees my father reading a list of my sins like I'm on trial, he'll never see me the same way. Nobody will. Then we don't just survive the night, Naomi says. We make sure the truth is louder than their script. I close my eyes, take a breath, the kind I take before a code blue. Deep, deliberate, separating the panic from the protocol. My mother weaponized my birthday, my living room, and my workplace, all in one invitation. She thought she'd covered every angle. She didn't know about the fourth door. Naomi and I sit in her car outside a coffee shop 10 days before my birthday. Engine off, rain on the windshield. Ground rules, Naomi says. She counts on her fingers. 1. You walk in like it's a normal party. You smile. You greet people. You don't signal anything. Okay. 2. When they start, you let them talk. All the way through. Don't interrupt. Fine. 3. When they finish, you ask to speak privately. One time. Calmly. Clearly. Can we discuss this in private, just the family? And if they say no? That's rule 4. If they refuse to stop, if they insist on doing this in front of 40 people, then the recordings play. Their choice, their stage, your truth. I nod. Ohio is one-party consent, she says for the third time. You were present for every conversation you recorded. It's legal. The consequences are social, not criminal. Nobody goes to jail, but nobody hides either. I look down at my phone. 4 files in a folder I've labeled insurance. Not because I'm being clever, because that's what they are. File 1, Dad and Linda. File 2, Mom and Aunt Jeanette, the money and the jewelry. File 3, Kristen on Derek. File 4, Mom and Kristen planning the intervention. I back them up to cloud storage, send copies to Naomi's email. One more thing, Naomi says. She reaches into the back seat and sets a small Bluetooth speaker on the console, black, the size of a soda can. Your phone speaker won't cut it for 40 people. I pick it up. It's light. It doesn't look like much. You don't have to yell, she says. You just have to press play. I hope I won't need it, but I've stopped hoping for much when it comes to my family. Saturday morning, one day before my birthday. I drive 40 minutes to Maple Ridge, the assisted living facility where Grandma Ruth lives. Her room smells like lavender lotion and old books. She's sitting by the window in her wheelchair, working a crossword puzzle with a pen. Not pencil. Pen. That's Grandma Ruth. There's my Saturday girl, she says when I walk in. I pull up a chair. We do what we always do. She tells me stories about Grandpa Earl. I bring her butterscotch candies. We watch 15 minutes of Wheel of Fortune together even though it's a rerun. So, she says during a commercial, big birthday tomorrow. Your mother planning something? She is. Good. She adjusts her reading glasses. I hope she's being kind about it. I don't answer. Grandma reaches over and takes my hand. Her skin is thin as paper, but her grip is firm. Your grandfather always said the Mercer women are loud, but the strong ones are quiet. I squeeze back. Then she asks about the jewelry, casually, the way she asks about everything, like she already knows the answer but wants to see if you'll tell the truth. Jeanette was supposed to bring my bracelet last month, Pearl 1, with the clasp. Haven't seen it. I swallow hard. I know that bracelet was sold for $800. I know because I heard my aunt say it out loud while my mother laughed. I'm sure it'll turn up, Grandma. She studies my face, doesn't push. When I leave, she sends me a text message. She just learned how to use the phone I bought her last Christmas. The message is full of typos. It reads, "Whatever they do tonight, remember who raised you on Saturdays. I am proud of you, always." I sit in my car and read it 3 times. Saturday evening. Naomi comes over to my apartment with takeout and the Bluetooth speaker. We eat pad thai on my couch, the one piece of furniture I actually like, and she walks me through the logistics one more time. Speaker connects to your phone in 3 seconds, she says, holding it up. I tested it at my office. Clear audio from across the room. I'll keep it in my purse with the top unzipped. Where will you sit? Back row, close to the door. If things go sideways, I'm right there. I pick up the speaker. It's so small, a little cylinder of black plastic. Tomorrow night, it might be the loudest thing in the room. If I don't use it, I say, we go home, we eat cake, and I spend my 30s in therapy. Naomi doesn't laugh. And if you do use it? Then at least the right people are embarrassed for once. She pauses, chopsticks midair. Faith, I need you to hear this. Once you press play, you can't unring that bell. Your dad's affair, your mom's money, Kristen and Derek, all of it, out in the open, in front of everyone. There's no version of tomorrow night where things go back to normal. Naomi. Normal is me paying their mortgage while they plan a public humiliation. Normal is my sister calling her husband useless and then filming my intervention for content. Normal was never good. She nods, slowly. We sit in silence for a minute. The apartment is quiet. My phone is on the table. 4 audio files lined up in a row, each one a door that only opens from one side. Try to sleep, she says on her way out. I don't, not because I'm scared, because I'm done rehearsing what I'll say when they finally stop talking. 2 a.m., I'm sitting on my bed with the lights off, earbuds in, listening to the recordings one last time. File 1. Dad's voice, loose and careless. Tuesday works, Linda. Diane's got Bible study. His laugh. A laugh I never hear at the dinner table. File 2. Mom and Jeanette. Gary doesn't know about the 14,000. And then Jeanette, smooth as syrup. I already sold the bracelet, got 800. File 3. Kristen, wine brave and bitter. Derek's useless. I wish I never said yes at that altar. Then 40 minutes later, sweet as Sunday morning. You're the best thing in my life, babe. File 4. The one that started all of this. Mom's voice, calm and organized, the way she sounds when she's planning a church fundraiser. We do it on her birthday. We tell her she's selfish. If she cries, even better. I pull out my earbuds. The apartment is silent. The streetlight outside throws a bar of orange across the ceiling. My family is building a courtroom in their living room tomorrow. They've written the charges, invited the witnesses, rehearsed the testimony. They've even hired a camera crew, my own sister, live streaming my trial for strangers on the internet. And they have no idea the defendant has more to say than anyone in that room wants to hear. I plug my phone in, set my alarm for 9, close my eyes. Tomorrow is my birthday. 30 years old. I used to think turning 30 would feel like a milestone, a celebration, a beginning. Instead, it feels like a verdict. But here's what they don't know. The verdict isn't mine. It's theirs. Okay. Let me step outside the story for a second. I want to be honest with you. The night before, I almost didn't go. I almost packed a bag and drove to Naomi's apartment and spent my birthday eating ice cream and pretending none of it was happening. But here's what stopped me. If I don't show up, they tell the story without me. 40 people hear their version, and I become the villain who couldn't even face her own family. So let me ask you, what would you have done? Would you have walked into that room? Or would you have stayed home? Tell me in the comments. All right, let me take you to the night itself. I pull into my parents' driveway at 6:15. Cars are lining the street in both directions. I count 11, 12, more than a birthday dinner, more than a surprise party. My phone is charged. The app is open. The speaker is already paired. I smooth my blouse. Check my reflection. Take one breath. Walk in through the front door. The living room has been rearranged. The couch is shoved against the wall. The coffee table is gone. In its place, 4 rows of folding chairs, maybe 10 across, facing a single point at the front of the room where a microphone stands on a chrome tripod stand. Behind it, taped to the wood paneling, a banner, white butcher paper, blue marker, block letters. We love you enough to tell the truth. No cake, no streamers, no presents. I scan the room, 40 faces, some smiling nervously, some avoiding my eyes. I spot them one by one. Marcus, my supervisor, in the second row, arms crossed. Carla beside him, clutching her purse. Dr. Pham near the back, looking confused. Neighbors I've known since childhood. 2 of Mom's Bible study friends in matching cardigans. Cousins I see once a year at Thanksgiving. Kristen's college roommate. And there, in the far corner, Kristen, Standing behind a tripod, phone mounted, red dot blinking, she's live. Naomi is in the last row near the door, her purse on her lap. The zipper open 2 inches. She gives me the smallest nod. I look at the microphone, at the banner, at 40 people who came to watch my family put me on trial. Then I look at the one empty chair in the front row, center, facing the crowd, my seat. I sit down. Mom steps up to the microphone. She's wearing her good blouse, the cream one she saves for church. Her hands are steady. She smiles at the room the way she smiles at potluck dinners, warm and practiced. "Thank you all for coming," she says. "I know this isn't what Faith expected tonight, but as a family, we decided it was time to be honest." She pulls a folded sheet of paper from her pocket, opens it slowly. "Faith, honey, we love you, but we can't keep pretending everything is fine." She reads. She tells the room I'm selfish, that I hold money over their heads like a weapon, that I decide when and how much I give like we're a charity case. She tells them I'm cold, that I never call my father on Father's Day. She doesn't mention that Dad hasn't answered his phone on Father's Day in 3 years because he's always out picking up parts. She tells them I'm tearing the family apart, that Sunday dinners have become tense because of my attitude. She pauses, looks at me with practiced tenderness. "We're not doing this to hurt you, Faith. We're doing this because nobody else had the courage." The room is dead quiet. I hear a folding chair creak. Someone coughs. Marcus uncrosses his arms and leans forward. He's watching. I can feel it. 2 of Mom's Bible study friends are nodding along. The woman in the green cardigan dabs her eyes. She's buying every word. I sit perfectly still, hands on my knees, face neutral. The way I look when a patient's family is yelling at me in the ER, calm, present, absorbing, because Mom isn't finished. And neither is Dad. Dad stands up. He doesn't look at me. He reaches into his shirt pocket and pulls out 3 pages. Lined paper, folded in thirds, covered in handwriting. I recognize the handwriting instantly. It's not his. It's Mom's. She wrote the list. He's just the delivery man. He clears his throat. "Faith, your mother and I, we made this together. It's a record of patterns, things we've noticed." He starts reading. "Faith, age 8, broke the kitchen window playing ball and lied about it." I didn't break that window. Kristen threw a softball through it. I was in the backyard, and I was the one who got blamed because Kristen cried first. "Faith, age 13, told her aunt she didn't want to go to church camp." Correct. Because church camp was in July and I had a summer reading program at the library. Mom said I was being difficult. "Faith, age 15, refused to let Kristen borrow her car for prom." I was 15. I didn't have a car. Kristen wanted Mom's car. Mom said no. I got blamed. "Faith, age 22, moved out without asking permission." 22, moved out. Without asking permission. He reads for 7 minutes. 7 minutes of childhood scraped off a bone, held up under a fluorescent light in front of 40 people. Nobody interrupts. A few people shift in their seats. Carla has her hand over her mouth. Derek, Kristen's husband, is staring at his shoes. Dad folds the pages, looks up for the first time. "We raised you better than this, Faith." He sits down. The room waits. I wait. I let 10 seconds pass in silence. Let it settle. Let every single person in that room feel the weight of what just happened. Then I stand. The chair scrapes behind me as I rise. Every head turns. Mom. Dad. My voice is level, steady, calm. "I hear you. I appreciate that you feel strongly. Can we talk about this privately? Just the 4 of us?" Mom shakes her head before I finish the sentence. "No, this is exactly why we're doing it here. Because privately, you shut us down. These people are witnesses." "Witnesses," I repeat. "Sit down, Faith," Dad says. From the corner, Kristen's voice. "Just let them finish. This is good for you." She adjusts her phone on the tripod. The red dot blinks steadily. Still live. I look around the room one more time, slowly. Marcus is typing something on his phone. I wonder if it's a note. A text to HR. A message to a colleague. "You won't believe what I'm watching right now." The woman in the green cardigan is nodding again. She thinks this is love. She thinks she's witnessing a family that cares enough to be honest. I look at Naomi. She's sitting very still. Her hand rests on the open purse. Inside, the speaker is waiting. I look at Derek. He's staring at Kristen's tripod with an expression I recognize from the ER. Confusion tipping into dread. I take a breath. The same breath I take before I call time of death. Not because this is the end. Because it's the beginning of something that can't be taken back. Okay, I say. You've had your turn. I open my purse, pull out my phone. I hold it up so the room can see. Funny, I've been recording too. The room goes absolutely silent. And then I press play. The Bluetooth speaker comes alive from Naomi's purse. Clear, loud, every syllable razor sharp. Dad's voice fills the room. Yeah, Linda, Tuesday works. Diane's got Bible study. I'll tell her I'm picking up parts at the store. A woman laughs on the other end. Warm, familiar. She doesn't suspect anything, Dad continues. 22 years, and she still thinks I go bowling on Tuesdays. Silence. Total silence. The kind of silence that has texture, thick and suffocating. Mom turns to Dad. Her face drains. Not slowly. All at once, like someone pulled a plug behind her eyes. Dad lunges forward in his chair. Turn that off! Turn that off! I don't move. The recording keeps playing. Dad's voice, easy and light. I'll bring dinner, that Italian place you like. She'll never know. The woman in the green cardigan stands up. She looks at Mom, then at Dad, then at the door. She picks up her coat and walks out without a word. Her friend follows. Mom's hand grips the back of a folding chair so hard her knuckles turn yellow-white. She's staring at Dad, not at me. At him. Gary, she whispers. Diane, it's not. You have to understand. 22 years? Her voice cracks. Bowling? The room is vibrating. People are looking at each other, looking away, looking at the floor. Marcus has put his phone face down on his thigh. I touch my screen. The recording stops. I look at the room. My voice is even, calm as a chart note. That's recording 1. I pause. There are 3 more. Nobody breathes. Nobody moves. The banner behind me, "We love you enough to tell the truth," has never been more ironic. I press play on the second file. Mom's voice this time, confident, conspiratorial, the tone she uses when she thinks no one important is listening. Gary doesn't know about the $14,000. I moved it to my personal account right after Mom's estate sale. He thinks the furniture sold for less. And then Aunt Jeanette, tinny through the speakerphone in the recording. Smart. And the pearls. I already sold the bracelet, got $800 for it. If Ruth asks, we just say it's at the jeweler being cleaned. Dad turns to Mom. His face is a wreck, half guilt from the first recording, half fury from the second. $14,000, he says. From Ruth's estate? You told me the auction brought in $4,000 total. Gary, that's taken out of context. Aunt Jeanette is in the 3rd row. She bolts to her feet like the chair burned her. Diane, you told me no one would ever find out. The room erupts, not screaming, murmuring, a low, rolling wave of whispered disbelief. A cousin I barely know leans toward Jeanette. You sold Grandma Ruth's bracelet? The pearl one? Jeanette's mouth opens, closes, opens again. Nothing comes out. Mom's Bible study friend, the second one, the one who stayed, stands up now, clutching her purse. She looks at Mom with an expression I can only describe as revision, like she's rewatching every conversation they've ever had through a new lens. She leaves. Dad is gripping his knees. Mom is standing alone by the microphone, the paper with her speech crumpled in her hand. I stop the recording. That's 2. 4 relationships cracking in real time. And I still have 2 files left. The room is no longer watching me. They're watching each other. I look at Kristen. She's standing behind her tripod, but the red dot is gone. At some point during the first 2 recordings, she killed the live. But it doesn't matter. Hundreds of people already watched the first half. The damage is in the cloud now. Her eyes are wide. She knows what's coming. I press play. Kristen's voice, slightly slurred from wine, fills the room. Derek's useless, can't fix the sink, can't get a promotion. I married a man who peaks at 35. Mom's voice in response. You could have done better. Kristen again. I wish I never said yes at that altar. The audio is pristine. Every consonant, every breath. Derek is in the second row. He was sitting with his hands clasped between his knees, confused and quiet through everything before this. Now he goes still. A different kind of still. Not shocked still. Recognition still. Like a sound he always suspected but never heard clearly just came through in high definition. He stands, slowly. Doesn't look at me. Doesn't look at Mom or Dad or Jeanette. He looks at Kristen. She sees him. Her face collapses. Derek, wait. That's not what I didn't mean it like... He says nothing. Not a single word. He holds her gaze for 3 seconds. I count them. And then he walks down the center aisle between the folding chairs and out the front door. He doesn't slam it. He just closes it. A soft click that somehow sounds louder than anything else tonight. Kristen lunges at the tripod, grabs her phone. I watch her tap frantically, deleting the app, deleting the stream, deleting the evidence of a night she created. She's crying now. Nobody moves to comfort her. The last file. I almost don't play it. The room is already shattered. But this one isn't about secrets. This one is about me. About tonight. About the fact that none of this was ever an intervention. It was a performance, scripted by my mother, starring my father, produced by my sister, with 40 unwitting extras and folding chairs. I press play. Mom's voice, 3 months ago, in the kitchen I grew up in. We do it on her birthday. We sit her down, tell her she's selfish. If she cries, even better. Shows everyone she can't handle the truth. Kristen. I'll film the whole thing. My page needs content like this. Raw, real family moments. Mom. And if she threatens to stop paying the mortgage, we tell everyone she's abandoning her family. She won't risk that. The recording ends. I let the silence hold. 40 people now know the truth. Not my mother's version of it. Not the banner version. Not the 3-page list version. The actual truth. Marcus picks up his phone from his thigh. He puts it in his pocket. Slowly. Deliberately. I can see it in his face. He's not confused anymore. He's recalculating everything he was told about tonight. Gary sits slumped in a folding chair, chin against his chest. Diane stands alone at the front of the room. No one is near her. The microphone is still on its stand, but it might as well be a monument to something that just died. I lower my phone. That's the last one, I say. Quiet. No triumph, no edge. Just fact. Now you all know exactly who's selfish in this family. I pause. It isn't me. I need to pause here for a second. When I played those recordings, my hands were steady. My stomach wasn't. Because I knew, the moment I pressed play, there was no going back. Nobody in that room would ever look at each other the same way again, including me. So let me ask you, do you think I went too far? Or do you think I should have played them sooner, the moment Mom picked up that microphone? Tell me in the comments. And if you're still here, thank you. The story isn't over. What happened next is the part that actually changed my life. The living room looks like the aftermath of something, which it is. Kristen has run out after Derek. Jeanette is sitting with her arms wrapped around herself, eyes on the carpet. Dad is at one end of the room. Mom is at the other. The distance between them is 4 folding chairs and a 22-year lie. I put my phone back in my purse. I stand straight. I don't raise my voice. I want to say this once, clearly, so there's no confusion. The room watches. Starting tonight, I am no longer paying the mortgage on this house. I'm no longer covering the insurance premium. I'm no longer making Kristen's car payments. I've set up auto cancellation for every recurring transfer. Effective midnight. Mom's head snaps toward me. You can't do that. You depend on me, I say. Not the other way around. And you just spent 30 minutes telling 40 people how terrible I am. So I'm giving you exactly what you asked for. A life without my selfishness. Someone in the back, a cousin I think, lets out a low whistle. Carla nods. Quietly. I catch it from the corner of my eye. Mom opens her mouth, closes it, opens it again. Faith, this isn't… You're overreacting. I asked to talk privately. You said no. I asked you to stop. You said no. I'm not overreacting. I'm responding. I look at Naomi. Ready? She stands, loops her purse over her shoulder, and walks toward me. I turn to the room one last time. Thank you for coming. I'm sorry it wasn't the party you expected. Then I walk toward the door. My mother's intervention is over, but mine just began. I'm 3 steps from the door when Marcus stands. In 6 years of working under him, I've seen Marcus stand up for a lot of things. Patient rights, staffing ratios, union votes. He's not a dramatic man. He speaks like someone who knows that authority doesn't require volume. Faith. I stop. He buttons his jacket, takes 1 step into the aisle. I've worked with you for 6 years. I've seen you hold a dying man's hand at 3 a.m. and chart his vitals at 3:15 without missing a beat. I know exactly who you are. He pauses. This doesn't change anything at my hospital, except maybe my respect for you just went up. He says it at normal volume. But in this room, at this moment, it lands like a verdict. Carla stands next. She grabs her coat. I'm driving you home. You shouldn't be alone tonight. I feel something shift inside my chest. Not relief exactly, but the closest thing to it. Like setting down a bag I didn't realize I'd been carrying. I pass Mom on the way out. She grabs my sleeve. Her fingers are trembling. Faith, please. I stop. Look at her hand on my arm, then at her face. Mom, you had a microphone. I had a phone. I gently pull my sleeve free. The difference is, mine told the truth. I walk out the front door. I don't slam it. I close it the same way Derek did, gently, with a click. On the porch I check my phone. A text from Grandma Ruth sent 2 hours ago. She goes to bed early. Happy birthday, my girl. You are the best of us. I press the phone against my chest and stand there in the cool Ohio air until Carla pulls the car around. Carla drives. Naomi sits in the back. Nobody talks for the first 2 minutes. The only sound is the tires on wet asphalt and the low hum of the heater. Then Naomi says, "You okay?" I think about it, not the polite version, the real one. "I don't know yet," I say. She nods. That's enough. We're on Route 33, halfway to my apartment, when I open my phone and read Grandma Ruth's text out loud. The whole thing, typos and all. Whatever they do tonight, remember who raised you on Saturdays. I am proud of you. Always. Carla's hands tighten on the wheel. Naomi makes a sound from the back seat, not crying, but close. Your grandma, Carla says, sounds like the kind of woman I'd want at my intervention. I laugh. It's the first time I've laughed all night, and it comes out cracked and wet. Naomi leans forward between the seats. She raised you right, Faith. The rest of them are just noise. We pull into my apartment complex. Same parking lot, same cracked asphalt, but something about it looks different tonight. Cleaner, maybe. Or just mine. I unlock my door, step inside, drop my purse on the counter. 36 unread messages on my phone. I don't open them. Not tonight. I open my banking app instead. 3 recurring transfers. Mortgage, $1,100. Insurance, $340. Car payment, $280. I cancel all 3, one by one. Confirm, confirm, confirm. Done. Then I sit on the edge of my bed in the dark and listen to nothing. No phone calls to return, no bills to pay for someone else, no Sunday dinner to prep for. For the first time in 8 years, my paycheck is just mine. It's quiet, it's small, it's everything. Monday, the day after, Dad moves out. Not dramatically, no suitcases on the lawn. He just packs a duffel bag and drives to his friend Bill's house. Doesn't tell Mom. She comes home from the grocery store and finds his side of the closet half empty. She calls me 14 times that day. I don't pick up, not because I'm punishing her, because I have nothing left to say. Day 3. Kristen calls. She's sobbing so hard I can barely understand her. Derek filed for separation. He won't talk to me. He changed the locks. I'm sorry to hear that, Kristen. You ruined my marriage. I close my eyes, hold the phone an inch from my ear. You ruined your marriage in that kitchen 6 weeks ago. I just pressed play. She hangs up. Day 5. I get a call from a cousin I haven't spoken to in years. He tells me he called Grandma Ruth to check on the bracelet. Ruth said, "My bracelet." She told me it was at the jeweler for cleaning. That was 4 months ago. He confronted Jeanette. She admitted she sold it. He told the rest of the family. Jeanette's phone has been silent ever since. Ruth asked me to stop by Saturday. "I want to hear this from you," she said. "Not them." Day 7. Mom posts a status on Facebook. Long, emotional. "Our family is going through a difficult season. We ask for your prayers and your grace." Nobody likes it. Nobody comments. The 2 Bible study friends have unfriended her. 1 week. That's all it took. Not for things to fall apart. They'd been falling apart for years. 1 week for the glue to dissolve. And the glue was me. It was always me. A month passes. The dust doesn't settle. It rearranges. I sit down with my banking app and a cup of coffee and do the math I should have done years ago. That $2,100 a month I was sending home? Here's where it goes now. Student loans, paid off in 6 weeks. The remaining balance was $3,800. Gone. I open a retirement account for the first time in my life. I'm 30 years old, and I've never put a dollar toward my own future. I set up auto deposit, $200 a month to start. It's not much. It's mine. I book a flight to visit Grandma Ruth. Not a 40-minute drive. A proper visit, 2 days, a hotel nearby, so I can spend the mornings with her and not rush. At the hospital, nobody brings up that night. Not once. Marcus greets me the same way he always does. Brief nod, straight to business. But he assigns me to the new trauma protocol committee. It's extra responsibility. It's also trust. I'll take it. Carla and I start having lunch every Wednesday. We never had before. She tells me about her daughter's soccer games. I tell her about Grandma Ruth's crossword addiction. Normal things. Easy things. One Saturday, I walk into a hardware store and buy a pothos plant. $5. I set it on my kitchen counter, in the spot where my phone used to sit, while I calculated how much I owed everyone else. Naomi texts me that evening. "How does freedom taste?" I take a photo of the plant and send it back. Like a $5 plant from the hardware store. She sends a row of laughing emojis. I smile at my phone in my empty apartment, and it doesn't feel empty at all. 6 weeks later. I walk out of the hospital after a double shift. My feet hurt. My scrubs smell like antiseptic. I'm thinking about leftover pasta and my couch. Then I see her. Mom is standing by my car, arms folded, no coat, even though it's 40 degrees. "Faith." "Mom. I'm your mother. You can't just cut me off." I unlock my car, set my bag on the passenger seat. "I didn't cut you off. I cut off the money. Those are 2 different things. We need to talk." "Then talk." She straightens, lifts her chin. "I did what I thought was right. That intervention, it came from love, Faith, even if you can't see it." I lean against my car. I'm tired. Not the kind of tired that sleep fixes. "Mom, you wrote Dad's script. You invited my boss. You told Kristen to live stream it. You planned it for my birthday so I couldn't say no without looking ungrateful." I pause. "That's not love. That's a production." Her jaw tightens. "So what do you want from me?" "An apology. A real one. Not a Facebook post." "I'm not going to apologize for caring about my daughter." "Then we're done here. For now." I open my car door. She doesn't move. "Mom, I love you, but I won't let you treat me like an ATM and then call me selfish for having a limit. When you're ready to talk, really talk, you have my number." I get in, start the engine, pull out of the lot. In the rearview mirror, she's standing where I left her, getting smaller. I cry on the drive home, first time since that night, not from regret, from loss. Loving someone and accepting their abuse are 2 different things. I chose love. I just stopped accepting the rest. So let me tell you where everyone ended up. Dad and Mom separated officially. Dad's living in a 1-bedroom apartment near the hardware store on 5th. He called Linda after the party, the woman from the recordings. She didn't pick up. Turns out Linda has a husband, 2 kids, and a mortgage of her own. Dad was her Tuesday distraction. Nothing more. He lost his wife and his fantasy in the same night. Kristen and Derek finalized the divorce 3 months later. Derek kept the house. His name was on the mortgage, his payments, his credit. Kristen moved back in with Mom. 2 women in a 3-bedroom house with nothing to say to each other. She deleted her TikTok permanently. All the raw, real family content, gone. Jeanette tried to avoid the bracelet situation. She couldn't. Grandma Ruth called her directly. I was there for that conversation, sitting in Ruth's room at Maple Ridge, and told her, I want the money or the bracelet, pick one. Jeanette doesn't have either. She spent the $800. The family barely speaks to her now. Mom still calls me. Not every day, not every week. Sometimes she texts, thinking of you. Sometimes I respond. Sometimes I don't. There's no schedule, no obligation, no autopay. And me? I'm 31 now. I still work at the hospital. I still drive the Civic, though I fix the windshield. I still visit Grandma Ruth every Saturday. I still eat meal prep. But the containers are better now. Glass, not plastic. Small upgrade. Mine. I didn't destroy my family. The truth did. I just gave it a microphone. And maybe that sounds cold. But here's what I've learned. The truth doesn't destroy strong things. It only destroys the things that were held together by lies. Let me talk to you directly for a minute. I'm not telling you to go record your family. I'm not saying you should cut people off or make a scene at your next holiday dinner. Every family is different. Every situation has its own weight. But if you're listening to this and something feels familiar, if you're the one paying bills for people who call you ungrateful or showing up early to set the table while someone else shows up late with a bottle of wine and gets the hug, I want you to hear this. You are not selfish for having a limit. You are not ungrateful for expecting respect. And you are not tearing your family apart by refusing to hold it together at your own expense. Boundaries aren't walls. They're doors. You decide who walks through and when and under what terms. That's not cruelty. That's clarity. My grandmother sent me a text the night of my birthday. I've read it probably 200 times since then. Whatever they do tonight, remember who raised you on Saturdays. She raised me on Saturdays because my parents were too busy, too distracted, too focused on everything that wasn't me. She taught me how to do a crossword in pen. She taught me that strength doesn't have to be loud. She taught me that loving someone doesn't mean you let them bleed you dry and then blame you for the stain. I used to think standing up for yourself meant shouting, slamming doors, making a scene. It doesn't. Sometimes it means sitting quietly in a folding chair while 40 people stare at you and waiting, patiently, calmly, for your turn to speak. And when your turn comes, you don't yell, you just press play. Last week was my 31st birthday. Naomi came over. Carla brought her daughter. 2 friends from the hospital. 1 neighbor who always says hi in the hallway and finally got a proper invitation. 6 people. My apartment. A cake from the bakery on Maple Street. Lemon with cream cheese frosting, because that's what Grandma Ruth always ordered for my birthdays when I was little. The candles were crooked. Nobody fixed them. Nobody read a list of my faults. Nobody set up a microphone. Nobody pointed a camera at my face. Grandma Ruth called on FaceTime. She sang happy birthday, off-key and off-rhythm, and everyone in the room sang along, and it was the most beautiful mess I've ever heard. I blew out the candles. Naomi cheered. Carla's daughter asked if she could have the corner piece with extra frosting. I said yes. 1 year ago, 40 people sat in my parents' living room to tell me who I was. This year, 5 people sat in my apartment, and nobody needed to say a thing, because they already knew. I washed the dishes after everyone left, stood at the sink, warm water, quiet apartment, plant on the counter. The same counter where I used to calculate transfers. My name is Faith Mercer. I'm 31 years old. I'm an ER nurse in a small town in Ohio. I pay my own rent, my own bills, my own way. And for the first time in a very long time, I like the woman blowing out those candles. The best birthday gift I ever gave myself was the truth. The second best was silence. And the third, the one I'm still unwrapping, is the sound of my own life, finally, with nobody else's noise in it. If you made it all the way here, thank you, genuinely. This story wasn't easy to tell, and I know it wasn't easy to hear, But if you've ever had to set a boundary with someone you love, if you've ever had to choose between keeping the peace and keeping yourself, you're not alone. I'd love to hear from you. What's the hardest boundary you've ever had to set? Tell me in the comments. And if you want to hear another story that might hit even harder, there's one linked in the description. Click it, like, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. The envelope sat between the breadbasket and my water glass. My mother's handwriting on the front. For your own good. My father straightened his tie. My sister aimed her phone at my face. $47,000 I'd sent them over 3 years. And this was the thank you note. They expected tears. They expected begging. They expected the Ivy who always said okay and drove home crying. But that Ivy had a 6-year-old daughter now. And 10 minutes ago, in the parking lot, my mother whispered the one thing she should never have said. What happened next at table 7 of the Magnolia changed everything. For them. What did my mother whisper? And what was in my envelope? I'll get there. Before I go on, please take a moment to like and subscribe, but only if you genuinely connect with this story. Drop your location and local time in the comments. I love knowing where you're listening from. My name is Ivy. I'm 32, and this is what happens when the quiet one stops being quiet. Now let me take you back 6 months, to the night my father decided I was the problem. Crestwood, Georgia. Population, just enough for everyone to know your business by Sunday. I've lived here my whole life. Same streets, same faces, same whispers at the post office. I work at Paw Print Veterinary Clinic on Miller Road. I'm a vet tech. That means I'm the one holding your terrified Labrador still while Dr. Nguyen gives a shot. It means I smell like antiseptic and golden retriever by the time I clock out. My daughter Lily says I smell like love. That kid keeps me honest. Lily is 6. She's in that stage where every sentence starts with, but why? She wants to know why dogs pant, why the sky goes pink, why we don't eat at restaurants like the kids at school. That last one I dodge. We live in a 2-bedroom apartment above the hardware store on Elm. The carpet's older than I am. The faucet drips if you don't turn it just right. But it's ours. It's stable. Lily has her own room with glow-in-the-dark stars on the ceiling that I stuck up there her first night. Stable. That's the word I built my life around. Because stability costs. And for the past 3 years, mine cost exactly $1,300 a month. That's what I sent my parents. Every month. Automatic. The first of the month, my Venmo pinged. $1,300 to Gerald Thornton. Rent money I could have saved. Dance classes Lily could have taken. Dinners out we never had. $1,300 a month. 36 months. $46,800 total. Lily and I ate a lot of rice and beans. I clipped coupons. I hadn't bought myself new jeans in 2 years. But my parents' light stayed on, and that was supposed to matter. Let me tell you about the Thornton family portrait. Growing up, there was a wall in our living room. The brag wall, Brooke called it. Brooke's first place ribbon from the science fair. Brooke's prom photo. Brooke's cheerleading squad picture. Brooke's acceptance letter to community college, framed like it was the Declaration of Independence. My honor roll certificate was taped to the fridge once. It was gone by Thursday. I don't say that for pity. I say it because you need to understand the math. In my family, there were 2 daughters and 1 spotlight, and it was never pointed at me. My father, Gerald, 61, broad shoulders, voice like a judge even when ordering breakfast, had a way of introducing us at church picnics. This is Brooke, my youngest. Pause. Smile. And Ivy. No adjective, no detail, just, and Ivy. Like I was the period at the end of someone else's sentence. My mother, Donna, 58, was subtler. She didn't ignore me. She managed me. Ivy, can you set the table? Ivy, can you pick up Brooke from practice? Ivy, can you stay home this weekend? Your father needs help in the yard. I was the utility daughter. Brooke was the trophy. And Brooke, 4 years younger, 28, blonde, loud, confident in the way people are when they've never been told no. She played the part beautifully. She didn't have to be cruel. She just had to exist in the warm light while I stood in the draft by the door. I thought silence was strength. I thought if I kept my head down, kept helping, kept sending money they asked for, they'd eventually look at me the way they looked at her. That was the first lie I told myself. 3 years ago, Gerald got laid off from Brenton Logistics, where he'd managed the warehouse for 19 years. They gave him a box and 2 weeks severance. He was 58. He didn't tell anyone. Not the neighbors, not his buddy Roy from the VFW. He told Donna it was early retirement. She repeated it to the church ladies like she'd rehearsed it. The call came at 11:14 on a Tuesday night. Donna's voice, thin, cracking. "Ivy, your father won't eat. We're 3 months behind on the electric bill. I don't know what to do." I was sitting on Lily's bedroom floor, folding laundry. Lily was 3 then, sleeping hard, arms thrown wide like she owned the whole mattress. "How much, Mom?" $1,300 would cover the bills and groceries, just this month. Just this month became every month. Gerald's one condition. "Don't tell anyone, especially not Brooke. I don't want pity from my own kids." He said it like he was granting me a mission, not asking for a handout. So I kept the secret. I cut my grocery budget. I stopped buying Lily new shoes. Consignment store on 3rd had decent ones for $4 a pair. I picked up Saturday shifts at the clinic when Dr. Nguyen needed help. Meanwhile, Brooke, still living rent-free in our parents' guest room, posted on Instagram a photo of her and Donna, arms around each other, grocery bags on the counter. Caption: "I love spoiling my parents." 812 likes. I saw it at midnight after a 12-hour shift. I screenshotted it. Not for any plan, not for revenge. Because it hurt, and I wanted proof that the hurt was real. That screenshot sat in my phone for 3 years. 18 months ago, Brooke met Marcus Webb. The Webbs are Crestwood's version of royalty. Marcus's father runs Webb Properties. Half the commercial buildings downtown carry his name on the lease. Marcus himself is a CPA at the family firm. Quiet, polite, the kind of man who holds doors and remembers your coffee order. Brooke posted the relationship on Instagram before the second date. Gerald's chest puffed up like a rooster. Donna started shopping at the nicer grocery store on Piedmont, the one with the organic section, using, I should note, money I sent. The Webb engagement changed the temperature in my family. Suddenly, image wasn't just important, it was everything. Gerald stopped wearing his old flannel to the hardware store. He bought a blazer. Donna got her hair colored every 6 weeks. They spoke about our family in careful, curated terms, the version where Gerald retired early, Donna arranged flowers, and Brooke was the devoted daughter keeping everyone afloat. I met Marcus exactly once, at a backyard barbecue that summer. He was grilling burgers. I was refilling the lemonade pitcher because Donna pointed at it and said, "Ivy." Marcus turned from the grill. "So, what do you do?" "I'm a vet tech." My father materialized behind me. "She's still figuring things out." I watched Marcus register that. His eyes moved from Gerald to me. 1 second longer than expected, like he was filing something away. I didn't think about it again. Not then. 2 weeks after the barbecue, Donna called. Her voice was honey thick, the pitch she uses when she needs something. "There's a dinner, sweetheart. At the Magnolia, the whole family. Wear something nice, not your work clothes." My stomach dropped, and I couldn't explain why. The Magnolia is the only fine dining restaurant in Crestwood. White tablecloths, actual candles, a piano player on Fridays. I'd driven past it 1,000 times, never been inside. "Why the Magnolia?" I asked. "The Webbs want to see us together before the wedding. United." Donna stretched that word like taffy. "It's important, Ivy." United. The last time my mother used that word, she needed me to co-sign Gerald's truck lease. I said yes then. I had a feeling this dinner would cost more. "When?" "Saturday, 7:30. I already made the reservation." Notice she didn't ask if I was free. She informed me. I hung up and stared at the ceiling. Something felt wrong. The way the air feels before a Georgia thunderstorm. Thick, electric, waiting. I called Jamie Holt. My best friend since high school, mother of twin boys, the one person in Crestwood who knew I sent my parents money. She worked reception at the dentist's office and had a lie detector built into her left eyebrow. "They invited you to the Magnolia," she said flatly. "Yep." "Ivy, your parents haven't taken you to dinner since your 16th birthday, at Applebee's." "I know. Something's off." I know that too. So don't go. I looked at Lily, coloring at the kitchen table, purple crayon, tongue out, concentrating like a surgeon. If I don't go, they'll tell everyone I'm the one who split the family before Brooke's wedding. That follows Lily too. Small town. Jamie was quiet for 3 seconds. That's a long time for Jamie. Then go. But wear armor. I didn't own armor, but I had something better. A habit of saving every receipt I'd ever been handed. The night before the dinner, I couldn't sleep. I sat at the kitchen table at 1 a.m. with a calculator and a knot in my chest. Here's what I knew. My parents had power over exactly one thing in my life. Lily. My ex-husband Tyler wasn't a bad man. He was a decent man who realized at 27 that he didn't want to be a father yet. We divorced when Lily was 2. Joint custody on paper, but Tyler took her every other weekend and called it good. He moved to Savannah, started dating a dental hygienist named Courtney, bought a house with a yard. Tyler's mother, Mrs. Pratt, she was the variable. She'd wanted full custody of Lily from the start. She believed single mothers were a crisis. She kept a folder. I'm not exaggerating. She kept a folder of things she thought proved I was unfit. The apartment above the hardware store, my irregular hours, the time Lily showed up at preschool with mismatched socks. If my parents told Mrs. Pratt I was unstable, if they gave her ammunition, stories, embellishments, she'd hand that folder to a lawyer faster than Sunday brunch. I looked down the hall at Lily's door. The glow-in-the-dark stars leaked pale green light through the crack. Losing my parents? I could survive it. I'd been half lost to them since I was 12. Losing Lily? That wasn't an option. That wasn't even a thought I could hold in my head without my chest closing. So I made a decision. Go to the dinner. Stay calm. Sign whatever they put in front of me. Keep the peace. Protect Lily. That was the plan. But plans change when your mother says your daughter's name like a weapon, and mine was about to. Saturday afternoon, 4 hours before dinner. I was packing Lily's overnight bag for Jamie's house. Pajamas, toothbrush, Mr. Bunny, the stuffed rabbit she'd had since she was born, now held together with love and dental floss. While I waited for her to pick shoes, a 10-minute process for a 6-year-old, I opened Venmo on my phone. I don't know why. Instinct, maybe? Or the feeling that I should know exactly where I stood before walking into whatever was waiting at table 7. I scrolled. January, February, March, all the way back. 36 months of green arrows pointing away from my checking account. 1,300 here, 1,300 there, an extra 500 in December. For Dad's prescription, Donna had texted at 2 a.m. I added it up twice. $46,800. $46,800. I set the phone on the counter and stared at the number like it was someone else's life. That money was dance classes. It was a better apartment. It was a savings account for Lily's future. Instead, it kept Gerald's lights on and Donna's hair appointment funded. I should have closed the app. I didn't. I opened Instagram. Brooke's grid was pink and gold, curated like a boutique window. And there, posted yesterday, the newest photo. Brooke hugging Donna, grocery bags on the counter. Caption: 3 years of making sure my parents never worry. Family first. 847 likes. Marcus had left a heart emoji. I scrolled to the comments. Someone wrote, "You're such an amazing daughter." And underneath my mother's reply, "I'm so blessed to have you, Brooke. You're my rock." My rock. I screenshotted everything. Then I opened my laptop printer. I wasn't planning revenge. But I was done planning to cry. 7:28 p.m. The Magnolia's parking lot was half full. I recognized Gerald's truck, freshly washed. Unusual for a man who hadn't washed it in 6 months. Brooke's white Kia sat 2 spots over, a Web Properties bumper sticker on the back that I was sure Marcus didn't put there. I checked my reflection in the rear view. Dark blouse, clean jeans, the only pair without a bleach stain. Hair straight, no fuss. I didn't look like a woman about to be ambushed. I looked like a woman picking up takeout. In my bag, under my wallet, a manila envelope. Thin, light, heavy enough to end 3 years of silence. I walked in. Table 7, near the window. Candles lit, bread basket centered, water glasses already filled. The piano player in the corner was working through something soft and forgettable. Gerald sat at the head, Of course, in a blazer I'd never seen. Donna wore a navy dress, pearls I recognized from her anniversary set. Her eyes were already pink-rimmed. Pre-performance. Brooke sat beside Marcus, champagne flute in hand, face done up like a magazine ad. Her phone leaned against the crystal bud vase in the center of the table, screen facing my empty chair. I knew that angle. I'd read an article last year about how people position phones for covert recording during custody disputes. The camera was aimed right where my face would be. Marcus stood when I approached. He was the only one. Ivy. He nodded. Slight smile. Genuine. Hey, Marcus. Gerald didn't rise. Donna patted the chair beside her. You look nice, honey. Sit. The chair was cold. The bread smelled warm. And across the table, my sister's phone screen glowed faintly red. Recording. For 15 minutes, we pretended. He was a decent man who realized at 27 that he didn't want to be a father yet. We divorced when Lily was 2. Joint custody on paper, but Tyler took her every other weekend and called it good. He moved to Savannah, started dating a dental hygienist named Courtney, bought a house with a yard. Tyler's mother, Mrs. Pratt, she was the variable. She'd wanted full custody of Lily from the start. She believed single mothers were a crisis. She kept a folder. I'm not exaggerating. She kept a folder of things she thought proved I was unfit. The apartment above the hardware store, my irregular hours, the time Lily showed up at preschool with mismatched socks. If my parents told Mrs. Pratt I was unstable, if they gave her ammunition, stories, embellishments, she'd hand that folder to a lawyer faster than Sunday brunch. I looked down the hall at Lily's door. The glow-in-the-dark stars leaked pale green light through the crack. Losing my parents? I could survive it. I'd been half lost to them since I was 12. Losing Lily? That wasn't an option. That wasn't even a thought I could hold in my head without my chest closing. So I made a decision. Go to the dinner. Stay calm. Sign whatever they put in front of me. Keep the peace. Protect Lily. That was the plan. But plans change when your mother says your daughter's name like a weapon, and mine was about to. Saturday afternoon, 4 hours before dinner, I was packing Lily's overnight bag for Jamie's house. Pajamas, toothbrush, Mr. Bunny, the stuffed rabbit she'd had since she was born, now held together with love and dental floss. While I waited for her to pick shoes, a 10-minute process for a 6-year-old, I opened Venmo on my phone. I don't know why. Instinct, maybe? Or the feeling that I should know exactly where I stood before walking into whatever was waiting at table 7. I scrolled. January, February, March, all the way back. 36 months of green arrows pointing away from my checking account. 1,300 here, 1,300 there. An extra 500 in December. For Dad's prescription, Donna had texted at 2 a.m. I added it up twice. $46,800. $46,800. I set the phone on the counter and stared at the number like it was someone else's life. That money was dance classes. It was a better apartment. It was a savings account for Lily's future. Instead, it kept Gerald's lights on and Donna's hair appointment funded. I should have closed the app. I didn't. I opened Instagram. Brooke's grid was pink and gold, curated like a boutique window. And there, posted yesterday, the newest photo. Brooke hugging Donna, grocery bags on the counter. Caption: 3 years of making sure my parents never worry. Family first. 847 likes. Marcus had left a heart emoji. I scrolled to the comments. Someone wrote, "You're such an amazing daughter." And underneath my mother's reply, "I'm so blessed to have you, Brooke. You're my rock." My rock. I screenshotted everything. Then I opened my laptop printer. I wasn't planning revenge. But I was done planning to cry. 7:28 p.m. The Magnolia's parking lot was half full. I recognized Gerald's truck, freshly washed. Unusual for a man who hadn't washed it in 6 months. Brooke's white Kia sat 2 spots over, a Web Properties bumper sticker on the back that I was sure Marcus didn't put there. I checked my reflection in the rear view. Dark blouse, clean jeans, the only pair without a bleach stain. Hair straight, no fuss. I didn't look like a woman about to be ambushed. I looked like a woman picking up takeout. In my bag, under my wallet, a manila envelope. Thin, light, heavy enough to end 3 years of silence. I walked in. Table 7, near the window. Candles lit, bread basket centered, water glasses already filled. The piano player in the corner was working through something soft and forgettable. Gerald sat at the head, of course, in a blazer I'd never seen. Donna wore a navy dress, pearls I recognized from her anniversary set. Her eyes were already pink-rimmed. Pre-performance. Brooke sat beside Marcus, champagne flute in hand, face done up like a magazine ad. Her phone leaned against the crystal bud vase in the center of the table, screen facing my empty chair. I knew that angle. I'd read an article last year about how people position phones for covert recording during custody disputes. The camera was aimed right where my face would be. Marcus stood when I approached. He was the only one. Ivy. He nodded. Slight smile. Genuine. Hey, Marcus. Gerald didn't rise. Donna patted the chair beside her. You look nice, honey. Sit. The chair was cold. The bread smelled warm. And across the table, my sister's phone screen glowed faintly red. Recording. For 15 minutes, we pretended. Gerald asked Marcus about a property deal on the south end of town. Donna complimented Brooke's earrings. Marcus asked me how work was going. I said fine. Nobody asked about Lily. The appetizers arrived. Shrimp cocktail, roasted beet salad, things I'd never ordered in my life because they cost more than my weekly grocery run. I ate one shrimp. It tasted like money I'd sent. Then Gerald cleared his throat. That sound. I'd heard it 1,000 times before report cards, before lectures, before every announcement that rearranged my life without my consent. The throat clear was his gavel. He reached into his blazer and produced a white envelope. Donna's handwriting on the front, careful cursive. For your own good. Ivy. Gerald set it between the bread basket and my water glass. Your mother and I have been thinking about this for a long time. Donna pressed her napkin to her eyes. On cue. Gerald opened the envelope himself, unfolded 2 typed pages. He read aloud, measured, rehearsed, like he'd practiced in the bathroom mirror. The letter said, due to irreconcilable differences in values and lifestyle, the family had decided to release Ivy from the obligations and expectations of the Thornton household. It said my personal struggles had created unnecessary tension ahead of Brooke's wedding. It said this was an act of compassion. The language was too clean for Gerald. Donna must have looked up templates online. Translation: we're cutting you off. Don't come to the wedding. Don't contact us. Disappear. Gerald placed the letter flat on the table, smoothed the crease with his palm, and set a pen beside it. We just need your signature, sweetheart. Sweetheart. He hadn't called me that since I was 9. I picked up the letter. Read it again, slowly this time. Not because I needed to understand it, but because I needed them to wait. Gerald's knee bounced under the table. I could feel the vibration through the floor. There's a second page, I said. Just the acknowledgement, Gerald said quickly. Standard. I turned the page. The second sheet was simpler. 1 paragraph. My name, a signature line, a date, and above it, I, Ivy Thornton, voluntarily relinquish all familial ties and agree to have no contact with the Thornton family or its extended relations. Extended relations. That meant the Webbs. I set the page down. And if I don't sign? Gerald's jaw worked. Donna stopped dabbing her eyes. Ivy, Gerald said, don't make this harder than it has to be. That's not an answer, Dad. He leaned forward. If you don't sign, we'll have to protect Brooke's future. And ourselves. Donna turned to me. Her voice dropped, soft enough that Marcus, seated across the table, had to lean in to hear. Tyler deserves to know what kind of mother you really are. We've kept quiet long enough. There it was. Tyler, custody, Lily. I understood the architecture now. This dinner wasn't about releasing me, it was about silencing me. Sign the paper, vanish quietly. Or they'd call my ex-husband, his mother, and anyone who'd listen with stories about the unstable single mother who couldn't keep it together. Brooke lifted her champagne, sipped. Her eyes flicked to the phone leaning on the vase, still recording. Marcus sat motionless, fork halfway to his mouth, watching the scene like a man slowly realizing he walked into the wrong room. My mother whispered, Think about Lily. Do the right thing. Think about Lily. She said my daughter's name the way you'd lay down a trump card. casually, like it cost her nothing. But it cost me everything. I looked at my mother. Really looked. The pink-rimmed eyes, the trembling lip, the pearl necklace catching candlelight. A woman who'd texted me at 2 in the morning begging for $500, who'd called me crying about the water bill, who'd written, "You're the only one I can count on," and was now using my child as a bargaining chip in a restaurant she couldn't afford. Something inside me didn't snap. I want to be clear about that. Snapping is loud. This was quiet. This was a door closing, a lock turning. The last flicker of, maybe they'll change, going dark like a pilot light. Donna leaned closer. Her perfume, the same white diamonds she'd worn my entire life, filled the space between us. "Sign it, Ivy," barely audible. "Or I will personally call Tyler's mother and tell her you are an unfit mother. I have stories, and I will make sure Lily grows up knowing you chose pride over her." She pulled back, smiled, the satisfied smile of a woman who believes the game is already won. I straightened my back, breathed in, breathed out. Under the table my hands were shaking, but not from fear, from something older, hotter, and far more patient. I thought about my bag on the floor beside my chair, the manila envelope inside. She had radar for drama the way dolphins have sonar. Donna reached for Gerald's arm. "Gerald, lower your voice, people are watching." "She's deflecting." Brooke's voice cut in, sharp and practiced. "This is what she does, Dad. She makes everything about herself." Brooke turned to Marcus with the expression she'd perfected since childhood, the wide-eyed, hurt but brave face. "I'm sorry you're seeing this. She's always been like this." Gerald followed up, pivoting to Marcus like a salesman closing a deal. "Marcus, I apologize for the disruption. Ivy has always been dramatic. This is exactly why we had to make this decision." Marcus said nothing. His water glass sat untouched. His eyes moved between Gerald and me with the focused stillness of a man running calculations in his head. I watched Mrs. Patterson lean toward her husband. Her lips moved. I didn't need to hear the words. In Crestwood, witnesses were permanent. Gerald tapped the pen against the letter. "Sign it, Ivy. Let's put this behind us and enjoy the rest of the evening." His voice was calm again, controlled, the patriarch restoring order, but his hand was shaking, just barely. The pen trembled against the tablecloth. I noticed. Marcus noticed. And Brooke, too busy checking her phone angle, missed everything. Donna decided it was her turn. She placed both palms flat on the table, a gesture of sincerity she'd used at every church fundraiser, every PTA meeting, every moment she needed people to believe she was the reasonable one. "Marcus, honey," her voice trembled perfectly, "I need you to understand something about our family." Marcus's jaw tightened, but he listened. "Ivy has struggled her whole life. She never finished college. She works with animals." The way she said it, like I cleaned sewers. "She couldn't keep her marriage together. We tried. Lord knows we tried. But we can't let her instability affect Brooke's future, or yours." Each sentence was a blade, delivered with a mother's concerned smile. I sat still, but inside, I was running the math on every word. Never finished college, because Donna had asked me to drop out when Gerald needed knee surgery. "Just 1 semester, honey. We need you home." That semester became 2. Then I got pregnant. Then it was over. Couldn't keep her marriage. Donna had introduced me to Tyler at a church social, pushed the wedding, planned the reception. When he left, she said, "Some women just aren't meant for marriage." Works with animals. I held someone's dying dog last Tuesday at 3 a.m. and called the family myself. But sure, just animals. Marcus set his fork down, quietly. "Brooke told me Ivy chose to leave school," he said. "That's right," Donna said quickly. "She also told me your dad's surgery was minor, outpatient." Donna's mouth opened, closed. Marcus looked at Brooke. "You said it was arthroscopic. No big deal." Brooke's champagne glass was suddenly fascinating. She turned it slowly, bubbles rising. "That's not... It's more complicated than..." "Is it?" Marcus asked. The piano player started a new song. Nobody at our table heard it. Brooke panicked. I could see it. The micro shift in her posture, the way her shoulders pulled back like a cat cornered. She wasn't used to being questioned. She was used to being believed. "Ivy," Brooke abandoned the soft voice. Just sign the letter. Don't make this ugly. What happens if I don't? Brooke picked up her phone, held it up, screen toward me, not even pretending anymore. I've been recording this entire dinner. Her chin lifted. If you don't cooperate, I'll send this to Tyler's lawyer. A mother having a public meltdown at a restaurant? She tilted her head, faux sympathetic. Not a great look in custody court. The table next to us went quiet. Mrs. Patterson's fork hovered midair. I haven't had a meltdown, I said. Brooke smiled. Not yet. But you will. You always do. Gerald tapped the pen on the table twice. Sign the paper, Ivy. Last chance. Donna leaned close enough that I could feel her breath on my ear. Think about Lily. There it was again. Lily's name, the weapon, 3 of them, eyes locked on me, waiting for the crack. The quivering lip, the wet eyes, the footage Brooke needed. Marcus sat frozen. He looked like a man watching a car wreck in slow motion, wanting to intervene but not knowing which wire to cut. I breathed in, held it, let it go. Then I reached under the table, into my bag. My fingers found the manila envelope, smooth, cool. I'd sealed it with a single piece of tape at 4:30 that afternoon, sitting at my kitchen table while Lily drew unicorns in the next room. I brought it up and placed it on the tablecloth, right next to their letter. My hands didn't shake. Gerald stared at the envelope like I'd placed a live grenade beside the shrimp cocktail. What is that? I peeled back the tape. Calm. The way I open supply packages at the clinic, efficient, no drama. You brought your envelope, I said. I brought mine. Donna's hand moved toward her pearls. Brooke lowered her phone an inch. Marcus leaned forward, the first movement he'd made in minutes. 3 years of receipts, I said. I reached inside and pulled out a stack of printed pages. White paper, black ink, my old inkjet's slightly faded font. Not fancy, not legal, just true. The first page, a Venmo transaction history. My name at the top, Gerald Thornton at the bottom. 36 entries in a neat column, each one dated, each one for $1,300. A handful for more, $1,800 in December, $1,500 in March when the furnace broke. Total at the bottom. I'd circled it in red pen, $46,800. I held the page up. Not high, not like a protest sign. Just enough that Marcus could read it across the table. Just enough that Mrs. Patterson, craning her neck one table over, could see numbers. 36 payments, I said, voice level. $46,800. From my checking account to yours. Gerald's mouth opened. No sound came out. Like someone had unplugged his speaker. Donna's pink-rimmed eyes went wide, real this time. Not performance, pure fear. Brooke set her champagne down so hard the stem wobbled. I placed the page flat on the table, beside their disownment letter. Side by side, their fiction, my math. Should I keep going? I asked. Because I have 2 more pages. Nobody said no. Nobody said anything at all. I pulled out the second page. Printed text messages, time-stamped, complete with Donna's contact name at the top. Mom. November 15th, I read. 11:47 p.m. From Mom. I glanced at Donna. She looked like she'd swallowed her pearls. Ivy, please, the water bill is $340. Dad won't ask, but we're desperate. Don't tell Brooke, she'll worry. Ivy, Donna started. I turned the page sideways so Marcus could see the screenshot. Date, time, sender, all there. January 3rd, 2:08 a.m. From Mom. Can you send $500 extra this month? Dad needs his prescription refilled. You're the only one I can count on. Donna's hand shot across the table. Give me that. I pulled the page back. Not fast, slow, deliberate, like removing a bandage. March 19th, 1:14 a.m. Ivy, the mortgage company called again. I'm so scared. Please don't tell your father I texted you this late. Gerald turned to Donna. His face had gone from white to gray. You texted her at 1 in the morning? Gerald, I was scared, Every month, I said. For 3 years. At midnight, at 1, at 2 a.m. while Lily was sleeping and I was awake doing the math on whether I could afford both groceries and your electric bill. Marcus pulled the Venmo page toward him. He studied it the way accountants study things, line by line, number by number. Then he looked up at Brooke. You said you were paying their bills. Brooke's face went red, not embarrassed red, caught red. She's exaggerating. I helped too. How much? Marcus asked. Simple, quiet. How much did you send them, Brooke? The piano played on. Brooke didn't answer. She didn't have a number, because the number was 0. I laid down the third page, the last one. A color printout. Brooke's Instagram post from 2 days ago. The photo. Brooke and Donna, arms around each other, grocery bags artfully arranged on the kitchen counter. The caption, in Brooke's signature bubbly font. 3 years of making sure my parents never worry, family first. I placed it next to the Venmo records. This, I said, pointing to the Instagram post, is what she told the world. I moved my finger to the bank records. This is what I actually paid. The 2 pages sat side by side like a split screen. Fiction on the left, $46,800 of truth on the right. Marcus stared at both pages. His expression didn't twist into anger. It settled into something worse. Disappointment. The quiet kind. The kind that means someone has finished recalculating who you are. He turned to Brooke. Which part should I believe? He asked. The Instagram caption? Or 36 bank transfers? Marcus, baby, I can explain. Which part? He repeated. The part where you took credit for your sister's money? Or the part where your parents planned this dinner to cut her off because of it? Brooke's mouth worked. No words came. Donna's tears had started. Real ones now, not the theatrical kind. Her mascara ran in thin black rivers down her cheeks. For the first time in my memory, her tears didn't make me feel guilty. They made me feel tired. Gerald sat rigid. The patriarch who'd walked in owning the table was now staring at his bread plate, like it held instructions for what to do when your whole plan collapses in front of your future son-in-law. Mrs. Patterson didn't even pretend to look away anymore. Marcus folded his napkin, set it beside his plate. Precise. The way he probably closed a ledger at the end of the day. Then he stood. The chair scraped against the tile. A sound small enough to be nothing in any other restaurant. But in the vacuum of table 7, it cracked like a gunshot. Where are you going? Brooke's voice pitched high. The confident, curated Brooke from Instagram was gone. This Brooke sounded 20 years younger and twice as scared. Home, Marcus said. My home. I need to think. Marcus, she's manipulating you. She planned this whole... Marcus held up one hand. Not aggressive, just final. Brooke. He spoke the way you'd speak to someone you were very tired of protecting from themselves. Your sister just showed me 36 months of bank records. You showed me an Instagram caption. He paused. I know which one I believe. He looked at me. One nod. Brief. The kind of respect you give someone who told the truth when it would have been easier to lie. Then he walked toward the door. Unhurried. Past Mrs. Patterson's table. Past the hostess stand. Past the piano player, who transitioned seamlessly into another ballad, as if Marcus Webb's engagement wasn't crumbling in real time. Brooke shoved her chair back. The legs shrieked against the floor. She grabbed her clutch and ran after him, heels clicking rapid fire on the stone, champagne glass abandoned, phone forgotten on the table, still recording, still pointed at my chair. Gerald and Donna and I sat in the wreckage. Their disownment letter lay open. My receipts lay open beside it. The candle flickered between them like a referee unsure which side to call. Nobody in the restaurant moved. Then, a fork clinked. A glass was set down. Life resumed, but not at table 7. I gathered my pages, stacked them, tapped the edges even against the table, the same motion I used to square up patient charts at the clinic. Neat, orderly. I slid them back into the manila envelope. Gerald spoke first. His voice was hoarse, like he'd swallowed sand. You just ruined your sister's engagement. I looked at him, my father, the man who'd introduced me as an afterthought for 32 years. No, I said. Brooke's lies ruined her engagement. I just stopped lying for her. Donna's hands were flat on the table, mascara streaked, pearls rising and falling with shallow breaths. After everything we've done for you, you've done nothing for me, Mom. I said it without heat, without spite, like reading a lab result. I did everything for you, and you rewarded me with this. I pointed at their letter. For your own good. Donna's neat cursive, now smeared with a water ring from Gerald's glass. I stood, picked up my bag, slid the strap over my shoulder. I'm not signing your letter. I'm not begging. And I'm not your secret anymore. Gerald opened his mouth. I kept going. Starting tonight, I'm done sending money. I'm done being invisible. And if either of you contacts Tyler or his mother about Lily, if you say one word about my fitness as a parent, these records become a public conversation, not a private one. I pushed my chair in, quietly, no scraping. I hope you find a way to pay your own bills. I did it for 3 years on a vet tech salary while raising a daughter alone. I'm sure you'll manage. I didn't raise my voice. I didn't slam anything. I didn't give Brooke's still recording phone a single frame it could use. I just walked away from table 7. The walk from table 7 to the front door was maybe 30 feet. It felt like 30 miles. I passed Mrs. Patterson's table. She looked up at me. Not with pity, not with gossip hunger. With something that looked a lot like a nod, small, firm, the kind you give someone who just did a hard thing without flinching. I kept walking. Near the hostess stand, a hand touched my arm. I flinched, instinct, then saw the face. Dan Holloway, the Magnolia's manager. Tall, red-haired, perpetually worried-looking. 15 months ago, he'd brought his Beagle Biscuit into paw print at 11 p.m. on a Saturday. Bloat, the stomach twisted, life-threatening. I stayed 3 extra hours that night. Biscuit pulled through. Dan had sent a card that read, "You saved my best friend." Ivy. Dan kept his voice low. "Your check tonight is on the house." "Dan, you don't have to." He shook his head once. "Biscuit says thank you." I almost lost it right there. Not because of the free dinner, because in a restaurant where my family had just tried to erase me, the man whose dog I'd saved at midnight remembered my name. That's the thing about small towns. They see everything, and sometimes what they see is you. I pushed through the front door. The Georgia night hit me, warm, humid, smelling like fresh-cut grass from the church lawn across the street. Crickets, a distant dog barking, the ordinary sounds of a world that hadn't ended, even though something inside me had. I made it to my car, sat down, closed the door, and I cried. Not the tears they wanted, the broken, begging kind. These were the other ones. The kind that come when you finally set something heavy down after carrying it for 3 years. Relief. That's what relief tastes like. Salt and silence. I drove to Jamie's house. 9:07 p.m. Porch light on. Cartoon sounds leaking through the screen door. Jamie opened up before I knocked. She had that look. The one where she'd been sitting by the window watching for headlights. That bad? That good, actually. Her left eyebrow climbed, the lie detector engaged, but she let it go. "Mommy!" Lily came barreling down the hallway in her unicorn pajamas, sock feet sliding on the hardwood. She hit my legs like a tiny wrecking ball and wrapped both arms around my knees. "Mommy, Jamie let me eat 2 popsicles." 2? That's very serious. And I watched the one with the fish. Nemo. He finds his dad. I know, baby. I crouched down and pulled her in. Her hair smelled like kid shampoo and strawberry ice cream. Her arms tightened around my neck with the ferocity of someone who doesn't know the world is complicated yet. Over Lily's shoulder, Jamie mouthed, "You okay?" I nodded. "I'll tell you everything tomorrow, but tonight, I just need to hold her." Jamie squeezed my arm at the door. "Whatever happened at that restaurant, you did the right thing, I can tell." "How?" "Because you're not crying and you're not apologizing. That's new." She wasn't wrong. I buckled Lily into her car seat. She was asleep before I turned onto Elm Street, out cold, head tilted, Mr. Bunny clutched in one fist. I checked the rearview mirror. No headlights following me. I checked my phone at a red light. No texts from Gerald. No calls from Donna. No voicemail from Brooke. For the first time in 3 years, my phone was silent. I drove home in the quiet, and the quiet felt like mine. Sunday morning. Lily ate cereal at the kitchen table and drew a picture of Biscuit. She'd met Dan's beagle once at the clinic and decided they were best friends. I poured coffee, sat across from her, opened my phone. First call, the legal aid office at the county courthouse. A woman named Rebecca answered, voice like warm sandpaper. If my parents contact my ex-husband and make false claims about my fitness as a mother, what are my options? Rebecca didn't blink. I imagine she hears variations of this question every Monday. Document everything. Save texts, voicemails, any communication. If it escalates to harassment, you can petition for a protective order. Do you have evidence of the threats? My sister recorded the dinner where they said it. A pause. She recorded herself making threats? She recorded me, but she got them too. Keep copies of everything. If your ex files any motion based on their claims, those recordings and financial records will speak for themselves. I thanked her, hung up, wrote down her name and number on the notepad by the fridge, the one Lily had decorated with dinosaur stickers. Second action. I opened Venmo, found the recurring payment to Gerald Thornton. 36 months of automatic transfers stared back at me. I pressed cancel. One tap. The thing that had cost me $46,000, 3 years of ramen dinners, and every pair of new jeans. Gone in one tap. Third action. One text message. To Gerald. I love you both, but I will not be used anymore. Do not contact Tyler. Do not contact me unless it's to apologize. A real one. I set the phone face down on the table. Lily looked up from her drawing. Mommy, do beagles like cereal? Probably, baby, but it's not good for them. Oh, like too much candy? Exactly like that. I want to step out of the story for a second. After I sent that text, I sat at the kitchen table staring at my phone for 20 minutes, waiting, watching the screen. Nothing. No reply from Gerald, no reply from Donna, just Lily humming and coloring across from me. And honestly, I don't know if the silence hurt more or less than the dinner. Here's what I keep going back and forth on, and I want your take. Do you think my parents were always like this? Were they always the kind of people who'd use a grandchild as leverage? Or did the money pressure and Brooke's wedding change them into something they weren't before? Because some nights I think I lost them at that restaurant, and other nights I think I never had them to begin with. Drop your honest opinion in the comments. I read every single one, and your perspectives help me more than you know. All right, let me tell you what happened in the weeks after that dinner. Crestwood is a small town with a long memory. I didn't say a word to anyone. I didn't have to. Mrs. Patterson went to her Tuesday Bible study. By Wednesday afternoon, the story had migrated from the Baptist church to the hair salon on Main to the checkout line at Garner's Market. I know because Jamie texted me a play-by-play with the precision of a war correspondent. Linda at the salon says Donna's been sick all week. Tuesday. Roy from the VFW asked Gerald at coffee if his daughter really paid his bills for 3 years. Gerald left before finishing his cup. Thursday. Brooke deleted her Instagram. Friday. Donna didn't show up at the flower shop for 4 days. When she returned, her co-worker Helen, who'd seen the Instagram post, who'd liked it, who'd commented, "Mother-daughter goals," looked at her across the arrangement counter. Donna, I had no idea Ivy was the one helping you. You must be so grateful. Donna didn't answer. She trimmed the stems of a dozen roses and said nothing for the rest of the shift. Gerald tried to hold his ground. He went to his usual booth at Clyde's Diner for Saturday breakfast. 2 men he'd known for 20 years sat down across from him. Gerald, heard your oldest has been supporting you folks for a while now. That's a good kid you raised. Gerald put a 5 on the table and walked out with his eggs untouched. I didn't orchestrate any of this. That's the thing about truth in a small town. You don't have to broadcast it. You just have to say it once, in front of the right person, and let the zip code do the rest. Mrs. Patterson was the right person. Table 5 was the right seat. Marcus didn't break the engagement immediately. From what I pieced together later, through Jamie, through small-town gravity, he gave Brooke a chance. He sat her down in his apartment the morning after and asked her to explain. Everything. The Instagram posts, the money, the lies. Brooke tried the playbook that had always worked. She cried. She said she was going to pay them back eventually. She said she didn't mean for it to go this far. She said I had twisted things. Marcus listened. He's that kind of man, the kind who lets you finish. Then he asked one question. How much of your own money did you send your parents, Brooke? Total. In 3 years. She couldn't answer. Because the answer was a number you don't need a CPA to calculate. 0. 3 weeks later, Marcus returned the engagement ring. No social media announcement, no public scene, just a quiet conversation in his apartment, and then it was over. Brooke moved back into our parents' guest room, the same room she'd lived in rent-free while I sent $1,300 a month. Except now, the $1,300 wasn't coming. Gerald and Donna faced reality that first month like a cold shower. The electric bill, the water bill, Gerald's prescription, a blood pressure medication that cost $94 a month without insurance. The furnace that wheezed every time the temperature dropped below 50. Donna called me 2 weeks after the dinner. I didn't answer. She left a voicemail. Ivy, we need to talk. 37 seconds. No apology. No, I'm sorry. No, I shouldn't have said what I said about Lily. Just, we need to talk. Translation, we need money. I deleted the voicemail, then I deleted it from the deleted folder. Some doors closed clean. 1 month after the dinner, a Tuesday. I was washing dishes while Lily practiced writing her name at the table, 5 letters, tongue out, gripping the pencil like it owed her money. My phone rang. Gerald. I dried my hands, looked at the screen for 3 rings, then I picked up. Ivy. His voice was different, smaller, like the volume knob had been turned down from the inside. Dad? I'm not calling to apologize. Okay. A long breath, the kind that carries weight. The power's going to be shut off Friday. I know. Can you? No. Silence. Not the aggressive kind from the restaurant. The tired kind. The kind that lives in a house where the lights might go out. Then Gerald said something I never expected. You were always the strong one, Ivy. I just didn't want to admit it. I leaned against the counter, closed my eyes. That's not an apology, Dad. I know. Saying I'm strong doesn't undo what you did. It doesn't undo the letter or the threats or Mom telling me she'd call Tyler. It doesn't undo 3 years of taking my money and pretending it was Brooke's. I know, he said again, quieter. When you're ready to really apologize, not because you need money, not because the power's out, but because you're genuinely sorry for what you did to your daughter at that table, call me again. And if I can't, then I guess we'll both know where we stand. I hung up, set the phone on the counter, pressed my palms flat on the cold tile and breathed. Lily looked up. Was that Grandpa? Yeah, baby. Is he okay? I looked at her. Those big eyes. No agenda behind them. Just love. He's figuring things out, I said. It wasn't a lie. I just didn't know if it was true yet. 3 months after the dinner at the Magnolia. I still live above the hardware store. Still work at Paw Print. Still wear scrubs that smell like antiseptic and Labrador. Nothing about my life looks dramatically different from the outside. But the math changed. $1,300 a month. My money now. Lily's money. I opened a savings account at Crestwood Community Credit Union in her name. College fund. The starting balance was embarrassing. But it exists. That's what matters. Lily eats ice cream after school on Fridays now. 1 scoop. Strawberry. She thinks it's the most extravagant thing in the world. She might be right. I joined a single parents support group at the community center on Oak Street. Wednesday evenings. 7 people in folding chairs, sharing the specific exhaustion of doing everything alone. It's not glamorous. But when someone says I get it and means it, the room gets a little lighter. Jamie noticed first. You look different, she said over coffee at her kitchen table. Different how? I don't know. Taller? I'm 5'6", same as always. Taller, she repeated. And you sleep now. I can tell. She was right. No more 2 a.m. texts from Donna. No more lying awake calculating whether I could cover Gerald's prescription and Lily's field trip in the same week. The midnight math was over. Marcus texted me once, brief, respectful. No small talk, no flirting. Thank you for being honest that night. I hope Lily knows how lucky she is. I typed back, she will. That was it. No love story, no rescue arc, just two adults who respected each other enough to be honest and then move on. Some stories don't end with a new beginning. They end with a clearing. Space where there used to be weight. This was my clearing. I'm going to talk to you directly now. Not as Ivy in the story, as Ivy right here today. I didn't tell you all of this so you'd hate my parents. They're not monsters. They're people. Flawed, scared, proud people who chose image over integrity and lost both. Gerald can't pay his electric bill. Donna lost her standing at the flower shop and the church. Brooke lost the man she was going to marry. Those aren't things I celebrate. They're consequences they built for themselves, brick by brick, lie by lie. I told you this because somewhere out there someone listening is the Ivy in their family. The one who sends money no one acknowledges. The one who gives up vacations and new clothes and Friday night dinners so someone else's lights stay on. The one who gets introduced last, thanked never, and blamed first. If that's you, hear me. You are allowed to stop. Boundaries aren't punishment. They aren't selfishness. They aren't proof that you don't love your family. Boundaries are you saying, I love you, but I love myself enough to stop burning so you can stay warm. I know that's terrifying. I know the guilt feels like a physical thing, like a hand on your chest. I know because I felt it at table 7 with a pen in front of me and my mother's perfume in the air. But I also know what the other side feels like. It feels like driving home with your daughter asleep in the back seat and the phone finally, mercifully silent. Lily drew a picture last week. 2 people. Her and me. Big yellow sun in the corner. That's our family, she said. I looked at it for a long time. Yeah, I said. That's enough. It is. That's where I'll leave it. If this story meant something to you, if you've been the one holding the family together while they handed you the bill and the blame, hit subscribe so you don't miss the next one. I've got a story in the description that I think will hit just as close. And if you've had your own envelope moment, that one time you stopped folding and finally stood up, tell me about it in the comments. I read every single one. And honestly, your stories are braver than mine. Every time. Thank you for staying until the end. It means more than you know. I'll see you in the next one.